All right, good afternoon, everybody. This is the Fantasy Sports Boss for Fantasy Football Friday. Make sure you hit that subscribe, hit that notification button. Closing in on 800 subscribers since I started the channel about 2 months ago. Thank you guys for all your support. I really appreciate it. Again, for those who are new to the channel, what I really try to do to separate myself from all the other fantasy sports bloggers, YouTube channels, whatnot, is on Sundays I do the instant injury updates. As soon as an injury hits, I do a analysis video and a fallout within a minute of the injury happening. And plus, any questions you ever have, whether it's in the chat right now or you could post in the comment section, I usually answer you within a couple of minutes. The latest within the hour or so. So this is what I've been trying to do to really, allow the channel to step out, because it is frustrating when you ask people, like on Twitter, questions and they never get back to you. I'm always going to answer your questions. So make sure you post your questions here in the chat during the stream or in the comment section of any video that I post. So again, hit that notification, hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel. All right. So lots to go through today, as we do every Friday, going to examine the injury report and take a closer look at the players who are trending toward not playing and those who are playing. And of course, there's a lot of chatter with the NFL trade deadline now, just a couple of days away. And we'll start right at the top here with Brandin Cooks. So Brandin Cooks is being listed as questionable despite practicing in full the entire week. So what does this mean? There's certainly a lot of trade chatter surrounding Cooks, and I definitely foresee a situation where Brandin Cooks might be benched or might be a healthy scratch right before the start of the Texans game against the Tennessee Titans due to percolating trade rumors. Now, the Kansas City Chiefs have already brought in Kadarius Toney. We already analyzed that, so make sure you look for the videos on that, which I posted yesterday. So the Chiefs could be taken out of the equation here, but the Green Bay Packers, certainly the Los Angeles Rams are always involved when anybody's available. And I think the best fit would be the Los Angeles Chargers, who, of course, have a hobbled Keenan Allen and a Mike Williams, who's not going to play for another 4 weeks. Even the Bengals, if they don't feel confident about Jamar Chase, maybe they bring in Brandin Cooks. But either way, I told you all to trade for Brandin Cooks prior to this past week's games with the idea that he could be traded to a contender and see a vast uptick in value. If he goes to the Chargers, Brandin Cooks could be a borderline wide receiver one. We've seen him put up high-end numbers with some really middling quarterbacks and on some really bad teams in the past. So that's why I told you to trade for Brandin Cooks, because if he does get moved, which I think he will, it makes too much sense, just like with Christian McCaffrey, for Cooks not to get traded, then I think that his value could certainly spike. All right, Big BS with the first question of the day: Colts, Commanders, or Titans D? I would go. I like the Titans D, so especially against a Texans squad that could be without Nico Collins and Brandin Cooks. So I definitely would go with the Titans there. All right, so moving down the injury report here. Oh, I wanted to get to the Sunday night game. The Thursday night game. I did a video, earlier today. Lamar Jackson finally got his season back on track. He looked very good. He was perfect throwing the football in the second half of that game. The Ravens were nicked up, though. Mark Andrews with a shoulder injury. It looks like he's going to be okay, according to John Harbaugh. Less certain about Rashad Bateman, who I think needs to rest for a couple of weeks. That foot injury was not fully healed as he played yesterday. And so those who rolled the dice with both players certainly got burned. Devin Duvernay, though, in Bateman's place, had a good game. And if Duvernay is lurking there on your waiver wire, pick him up. And how about Isaiah Likely? Isaiah Likely, the Coastal Carolina tight end, has a lot of natural athletic ability. And I was very high on him coming out of the draft. And certainly if Mark Andrews misses time, I think Likely is a tremendous waiver wire pickup for week 9. On the other side of the ledger, Tom Brady is now in clear drop mode. I'm not interested in what's going on in his personal life. I know that was a big story today. But at least in terms of fantasy football, unbelievably, I think we have reached a point now where Tom Brady is a drop. I mean, we've waited for it long enough. I know he threw for over 300 yards, but he only, took a very late garbage time touchdown to allow his fantasy value to at least, not be completely in the toilet. But he's been so bad, and this offense doesn't seem showing any signs of turning around, that I think we're at that point now to drop Brady. Chris Godwin owners, he's got a very safe floor, which is 10 to 12 fantasy points, but he hasn't scored yet. Not a lot in the way of big plays. Really disappointed, because Godwin was like a PPR cheat code last season when Brady and him were hooking up routinely. But as a double Godwin owner, I can tell you it's been a little bit frustrating so far this season. And listen, Leonard Fournette dominated carries. He dominated snap percentage. Just when I thought, and everybody thought Rachaad White was going to start making a move on the starting job, it failed to materialize. Fournette rushed for a touchdown, but needed a couple of late garbage time catches to boost his numbers from 9 fantasy points to 14. So not looking great for Fournette either. Mostert or Michael Carter? Mostert, easy if he plays. Now, I know he's got a little bit of injury issue, so we got to keep an eye on that. All right, Green Bay Packers are not going to be having Allen Lazard services, and this is the deal with Allen Lazard, unfortunately. He can't ever stay completely healthy. He's got a shoulder injury. He said he heard some sort of a pop in his shoulder, which is quite ominous. I hope it's not that bad because I do own a lot of shares in Allen Lazard. I think hopefully he'll be okay next week, but that's just going to leave the Packers so much more shorthanded. I know Christian Watson is questionable with a hamstring injury, but how bad does that decision look, that not drafting George Pickens instead of Christian Watson for the Packers? I mean, the Packers drafts have been just so abysmal over the last couple of years. There's just no excuse. And if they don't bring in Brandon Cooks, I mean, this franchise is entering joke territory for sure. All right, so Mostert was cleared, so I would definitely go Mostert. Dalton Schultz is questionable. They've kind of been babying him in practice, so I think Schultz ultimately will be fine. He's got that PCL injury, which has been cropping up pretty much at least once a game. He's been fighting through it. There is a high degree of risk with starting Schultz because one wrong move could send him out of the game. And, when a player leaves the game early, injured, like with Mark Andrews yesterday, it could really put your team behind the 8 ball. But that being said, Schultz is going to be a heavily targeted player for Dak Prescott, along with CeeDee Lamb going forward. The only thing, too, with the Cowboys, though, is they've been extremely run-heavy to start the season, and that has taken a chunk out of CeeDee Lamb's ceiling. CeeDee Lamb hasn't exactly gone nuts like many of us expected. He was a mid-second-round draft pick with the thought that he would catch 100 balls this year. Now, Lamb still has not even caught 80 passes in the season, so that is mildly concerning. We all keep buying into the potential of CeeDee Lamb to have a smash season, but it just hasn't happened yet. And maybe it won't happen. Certainly Dallas being very run heavy, that's definitely hurting him a little bit. Erwin Garcia, how are you, pal? Kadarius Toney reminds me of AB, elite talent, but trouble off the field. Yeah, I mean, AB was just an incredible talent, but he was just a complete whack job, nutcase, whatever you want to call him, for sure. And I still don't think Toney is going to be a big thing the rest of the way. All right, so Ezekiel Elliott, Jerry Jones came out and said he's not playing. So I know he's listed as doubtful. He's not playing. If Jerry Jones says it, Jerry Jones is the judge, the executioner. He's everything. And so that means that Elliott is not going to play. So it is Tony Pollard's season. He's got a terrific matchup against the Chicago Bears, who give up chunks of yardage on the ground. So you're starting Tony Pollard everywhere. It would not surprise me in the least if he achieved running back 1 numbers in PPR leagues. As far as Elliott, the Cowboys have a bye next week. It makes total sense that he doesn't play this week. He has the bye next week to rest up, and then he'll be back. But I don't think that we're in a situation where if Pollard goes nuclear, that he's going to take over the starting job. I do not foresee that happening. I think, Elliott's been fairly productive, especially around the goal line. So I don't think the Cowboys are going to change anything. Who to start in my flex spot, Devontae Smith or Stevenson? I'm partial to Stevenson, so I'm going to have to say Stevenson. What do you think about me playing Taysom Hill all season? Erwin, I told everybody, you put Taysom Hill in that tight end spot, and you just leave him. It's going to be wild fluctuation, but right now he is fifth among all tight ends in fantasy points, and he's got a good a chance to score as any tight end, including Kelsey and Mark Andrews in any given week. So set it and forget it with Taysom Hill. You got to live with the down weeks, but the spectacular weeks are going to be really, really good. Cook's questionable all of a sudden. Trade rumors. Does he play this week? I talked about that, Al, right at the top of the show. It's definitely trade related. He's not injured. I think it said something about his wrist. They have to list something, but he practiced in full this week. It is a trade rumor situation. And also Kareem Hunt owners, make sure you pay attention with Kareem Hunt as well and have a viable backup. Pick up D'Ernest Johnson, because there's also a scenario where I think Kareem Hunt could be scratched right before the game on Monday. So again, you always want to anticipate any sort of trouble, and that's something that I could see happening. Kareem Hunt being a healthy scratch right at the last minute there Monday. So make sure you have D'Ernest Johnson or a viable, and you want to put Hunt in the flex if you are starting him. You want to have somebody in line just in case Hunt is a healthy scratch because of an imminent trade. Gesicki, Freiermuth, or Schultz. I don't like Gesicki with Tagovailoa. I would go Freiermuth. He's been very productive. He's been the most productive of the three, so I would go with him. Take some time. Jameis, Trotman, Michael Thomas. Jesus, some more ominous stuff coming out about Michael Thomas we'll get to. Landry, Juwan are all hurt. Yeah, I mean, listen, they almost have no choice to use Taysom Hill. Absolutely, 100% there. All right, TJ Hawkinson was removed from the injury report. He will play. Amon-Ra St. Brown, still with the concussion protocol. He's right now listed as questionable. Not actually diagnosed with a concussion, but this is puzzling to me that he's still, on this, in the protocol, so to speak. He's up. He did practice fully on Friday. I'm just going through this right now. So if he practiced fully on Friday, then Amon-Ra St. Brown is going to play. And I know it's been a little bit lean the last couple of weeks because of the injuries, and the production has slipped a little bit when he has been on the field outside of those first 2 weeks. But the teeny tiny buy low window is almost vanished. I'm fine with Amon-Ra St. Brown the rest of the season. Cowboys, D, going to handle business against Fields and Bears. I mean, I think so. We thought that about the Patriots, and look what happened with Justin Fields going nuts there. All right, DeAndre Swift removed from the injury report with his ankle and his shoulder. Listen, I was as high as on DeAndre Swift as anybody coming into the season. Not liking what I'm seeing even beyond the injury. He's not catching a lot of passes. Jamal Williams is the goal line back, and Jamal Williams is getting about 30% of the carries. So these are all things that are really hurting DeAndre Swift, whereas I thought he'd be a running back 1 in PPR easy. He's now a running back 2 in all formats, at least for the time being. I'm worried about Fournette and that O-line. Which wide receiver you try to trade him for? Half PPR. For Leonard Fournette, you're looking at a Chris Olave. You're not going to get Stephon Diggs, Davante Adams. You're looking at Olave for sure. I'm trying to think of some mid-tier receivers. DK Metcalf when he comes back healthy. Mike Evans. I think you can get Mike Evans, for Fournette. But if you really want to try to get away from that offense, you can go Devontae Smith as well. Deebo Samuel. So I put a poll up about Deebo Samuel. You all know I did not like Deebo Samuel coming into the season. So he did not practice again on Friday. Kyle Shanahan was kind of talking him up today, but anybody that doesn't practice throughout the week almost always doesn't play. We could be surprised, but again, then just like that video I put out a couple of hours ago, if a player hasn't practiced and then they suit up, they are definitely going to be on a snap count. Okay. And the chance of re-injury or worsening the injury is extremely high. So if you're a Deebo Samuel owner, I would be very careful with this one. Nobody wants to trade in my league. First-time fantasy player. I'll never do that again. Super jealous of everyone making deals in other leagues. Yeah, you got to be in a league where people want to trade. If there's no trading, then the league's kind of dull. Wide receivers are Brown, Lamb, very good. George Pickens and Olave. It's like pulling teeth to improve. I don't think you have to improve that group. That's for sure. Anyway, getting back to Deebo Samuel. I think he's 4th on the target tree now. Brandon Ayuk is now morphed into the wide receiver 1. Okay, we saw the second half of last season, Ayuk was making a move on that wide receiver 1 spot, and now it's his. And for Deebo Samuel, now that Christian McCaffrey is in town, they don't need him to run the ball anymore. And a lot of his value last season was inflated by the running game. That's not part of the equation anymore. Then you have George Kittle really coming on the last couple of weeks. He is a preferred target as well. So, and McCaffrey coming out of the backfield, Deebo is a 4th target now on his own team. He's got a hamstring injury. He's always had problems with injuries. This is not good. Listen, Michael Thomas. Dennis Allen came out today, and he hasn't played since, I believe, week 3, and said there's no timetable for Michael Thomas's return. Whether it's a toe, whether it's a foot, we've heard both. I can't even believe at this point, week 8, after going out in week 3, we still don't have a timetable on a guy who's got a toe injury. What in the fuck is going on? Seriously. I mean, is this guy the biggest just waste of talent and roster space as there is in fantasy football? Listen, I get it. He took the world by storm his first couple of years in the league. I love Michael Thomas as much as anybody, but this is a disgrace what's going on here. I just don't understand it. Listen, if this goes on any longer, he might even be a drop candidate. That's how bad it's getting. Trade offer. Who wins this trade? Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, boy, this better be good. James Cook and Antonio Gibson. Wow, for Kirk Cousins, Amon St. Brown, Jalen Waddle, and Christian McCaffrey. Cousins, Amon-Ra, Waddle, McCaffrey for Allen, Diggs, Cook, and Gibson. The McCaffrey deal. The McCaffrey. I know Allen and Diggs are just out of this world talent, but the other two guys are just filler. I love McCaffrey. I love Brown. I think Waddle is extremely underrated, and Cousins is productive. So certainly not as anywhere near as dynamic as Josh Allen, but I think the McCaffrey side of it is better. What do you think who do you think I should start? Justin Fields over Taylor Heineke. I have Jalen Hurts as QB1. Yeah, definitely. Listen, I'm a fan of Justin Fields. I think Justin Fields could be a QB1 the rest of the way. In super flex leagues, he's even more valuable. He's running the ball a lot. This offense is now being tailored to his skill set, which is running out of the pocket, picking up yards on the ground. He's almost like a poor man's Jalen Hurts, and I think he's just going to get better. All right, Davante Adams returned to practice Friday. The flu is going through the locker room of the Las Vegas Raiders. Adams has been fine. He's going to be fine in this one. Haven't heard anything more about that incident shoving the photographer in terms of any discipline. So Davante Adams, I think he just rolled with him like normal. Jarvis Landry did not practice as well. He's got an ankle injury. Is Jarvis Landry and Michael Thomas just like playing cards in the background and just high-fiving each other, that they're just getting paid and not having to do anything, not having to do jack shit while their teammates go out there and leave it all on the line when you have a rookie and Chris Olave who's just trying to keep this team afloat? I mean, that's what it seems like right now. All right, James Conner. James Conner is the running back version of Michael Thomas. He's not going to play in week 8. Benjamin owners rejoice. And again, I'm not minimizing anybody's injury, but in just terms of fantasy football, Benjamin coming off a huge game last week is an absolute must play this week. So against the Minnesota Vikings. And I've said this before, sort of like the Khalil Herbert situation in Chicago with David Montgomery. The backup in Arizona is much more talented than the starter. James Conner, to me, is done. He's on fumes. Can't stay healthy. It's an early decline for him. He's had a lot of injuries in his career. He had a bout with cancer. Serious stuff. Maybe that's causing an earlier decline in Conner. But the fact of the matter is he can't stay on the field. And the fact of the matter is his backup is much more talented. So, Benjamin owners, I think things are really looking up for the rest of the season. I really believe that. Should I start Juwan Johnson at tight end or someone else? I have Darren Waller, questionable, Everett bye week. I like Everett for sure. Yeah, you could go with Juwan Johnson. Listen, there's not a lot of targets to go around right now, and I believe last week he caught 2 touchdowns, so I would definitely do that. Van Jefferson, normal workload this week. And he's going to hurt Ben Skoranek. Maybe a little bit Allen Robinson, but I think it's good for Matthew Stafford that Van Jefferson is returning to the field because it's going to stretch the field, make the defense respect the deep play, and Stafford still has a good arm. So I think that's just going to help the offense overall. Ryan Tannehill is questionable, only practiced a little bit on Thursday, took no reps on Friday. He's got an ankle injury. Mike Vrabel basically said he thinks he's going to play. Malik Willis is now the next man up in terms of multi-talented quarterbacks we need to be aware of. I've spoke openly this season about how Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson, Pat Mahomes are all separating themselves from the rest of the quarterback class. All right, breaking news, right? It just came down the pike. Deebo Samuel is officially out. So there you have it. Deebo Samuel officially out for Sunday with a hamstring injury against the Los Angeles Rams. So, listen, same story as always. Called him a bust in the summer. He's a bust. Production's down. Can't stay healthy. He's officially out. Boost up Brandon Ayuk. This is, the 49ers are going to have to throw the ball against the Rams here. Boost up George Kittle, who's really starting to come on, and McCaffrey as well coming out of the backfield. So, that literally just came down. Anyway, getting back to Malik Willis. Malik Willis is now the next one in the portal, following Allen, following Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson, as that dual threat passer receiver. In the preseason, Willis was electric. He ran all over the place. His arm is very good, but he's coming from a small school in Liberty. He's going to have to learn a lot of the nuances of the game. So it's going to take him a while. We saw Steve McNair coming from a small school in Alcorn State, returned into one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL after he learned, took a couple of years to learn. I think Malik Willis has a very high ceiling. Jalen Hurts took Jalen Hurts a couple of years to really find his footing, and now he's doing nothing but improving. If Tannehill misses the game, you pick up Malik Willis, because we're at a point now where, if, let's just say Malik Willis has a huge game and he's capable of that with his legs, maybe Mike Vrabel says, you know what? The future's now. We're going to roll with the kid, see what happens. So that's why you pick up Malik Willis. If Malik Willis was just a passer, not a runner, I'd say don't bother. But because he does both, you want to watch this closely. So let's pay very close attention to what happens with Ryan Tannehill. All right, guys, make sure you hit that subscribe and the like button, please. David Njoku did not practice. He's in a walking boot still. So Harrison Bryant is going to catch a couple of more passes. You hold on to David Njoku. He's been very good. Yeah, Caleb Garcia, it's all about the dual threat with the quarterbacks now. Absolutely. And I think next year we got to really think about drafting quarterbacks a little bit earlier. All right. Always been a fan of Willis. High energy. Yeah, listen, again, small school guy. He's a project, but he's got a lot of upside. All right, DK. All right, so DK Metcalf looks like he's not playing. Ian Rappaport said he'd be surprised if Metcalf plays. And this is what we thought all along. Tyler Lockett's battling a hamstring injury. There is some risk with Tyler Lockett as well, that maybe he tweaks something and he goes out early. So, if you're in a super flex league and you have Geno Smith, can Marquise Goodwin do it again second week in a row? I don't know. But DK Metcalf is not going to play. Also not playing, Chuba Hubbard, the ankle injury. So Steve Wilkes, the guy was full of shit. He said, Hubbard's ankle was fine. He could have went back in last week. Baloney. He's not playing. So Dante Foreman against the Atlanta Falcons. This is a plush assignment. And I said, out of the two, I believe Foreman was the better guy to pick up if you only had one spot to use in your roster, because of his goal line potential. And listen, he was good last year with the Titans, filling in for Derrick Henry. He's got underrated speed. He could catch the football as well. I think Dante Foreman is set for a big game. I think he could be a top 10 guy this week. And if he does go and put forth a big game this week, he might just push Chuba Hubbard further into the background. I could totally see that happening. Alvin Kamara is not going to the Eagles. So I had a lot of fun with this morning. Got a lot of attention on the community board. And even Alvin Kamara had fun with it. He posted a meme today, the Michael Jackson eating popcorn meme. Because he heard the chatter. The chatter was that the Eagles were in talks to acquire Alvin Kamara, and given how aggressive the Eagles are, it wasn't out of the realm of possibility that this could happen. So, it's long story short, it's not happening. So Kamara's going to stay put. I do like the current version of Kamara with Andy Dalton throwing a lot of check down passes, so that's good. Maybe Kareem Hunt ends up in Philadelphia. That's been a rumored destination as well, so we're just going to have to see. Misery, how are you, pal? I'm doing good. All right, Russell Wilson is going to start. Man, I can't even believe how quickly this guy has gone from the good graces around the league, a well-respected guy, to a complete shitstorm. That's what Russell Wilson is. He's getting absolutely destroyed by half the NFL on social media. I'm sure you guys saw the video today, Justin Tucker on the plane. Russell Wilson's getting killed. He's playing poorly. The whole incident with the plane, the shenanigans that he did on the plane there, it's all going to hell right now for the Denver Broncos. Cortland Sutton, that does help his value that Russell Wilson is back for this game. But again, I really want no part of this offense. Jerry Jeudy continued to be whispers that he's going to the New York Giants. The Giants have been all over this. So, that's something that we're going to have to pay attention to. I think Jerry Jeudy with a Brian Daboll as his coach is an attractive proposition to me. Jeudy so far has not lived up to his first round designation coming out of the University of Alabama. And, Alabama receivers have been a bit hit or miss of late. Henry Ruggs was a miss even before the accident. Devontae Smith has been a hit. It's really gone either way with Alabama receivers, and the same thing with running backs. But I think that Jeudy with a new environment, and he's just been okay lately. He hasn't been terrible like he was the first couple of years. If Jeudy ends up with the Giants, I think they're going to unlock a lot of potential out of him. So, if you want to buy low on Jerry Jeudy going into this weekend, certainly feel free to do that. I'm going to watch this closely. Do I get rid of Gabe and Rashad for a wide receiver 2, and which one? Gabe Davis is a high-end wide receiver 3. I don't think you have to. But we'll just have to see. I think you're okay, Salim, because again, Leonard Fournette misses games too, so Rashad White might gain some value. Any update on Brandon Cooks? No, nothing on Brandon Cooks. That's the story of the day, and the fact that he's listed as questionable is just a hedge by the Texans to be able to pull him without too much hysteria if there's a trade that's imminent, and I'm hoping it will be because I bought low on Cooks last week, hoping he gets traded to the Chargers or the Packers. Any defense you see improving the second half? Listen, Shaq Barrett is now out for the season for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, so that's a huge blow right there. So I would not be looking too highly on that team. The Giants defense has played well. If you want an under the radar team, I've been riding Dallas in the one league that plays defense. I've had Dallas all year, which kills me because I'm a Giants fan. So, the Giants defense is one I think you should watch. Erwin, thank you, man. I appreciate your support. This is, it's certainly a lot of work doing what I'm doing here, but I wouldn't be able to do it without you guys. It's certainly a lot of fun. What was the other thing I wanted to talk about today? I wanted to mention something else and I forget. But now as far as the rest of the week, I'm not going to be doing a live stream tomorrow, but I definitely will be doing the live wrap-up stream Sunday evening, probably Sunday morning too at 11:30 when the injury reports come out. That way we can talk about any last-minute changes there. So I'll make sure to get on that. And, of course, the instant injury update videos. Metcalf and Lockett are both questionable. Yeah, Lockett's going to play DW. Metcalf is not going to play. So that's my read on the situation there. Oh, Darrell Henderson. Darrell Henderson's going to be good to go. Kyren Williams is not yet ready to come back. So, listen, you still hold Kyren Williams just because of the offense that they're in. I think Kyren Williams is going to make his case at some point when he gets back on the field for the Rams. So, don't even think about dropping Kyren Williams. Nick Rivera just got offered Kelsey, Godwin, and A.J. Brown for Diggs, Fournette, and Ertz. Wow, that's a good deal. Obviously, Kelsey is better than Ertz. Godwin, I like Godwin more than most people. A.J. Brown and Diggs certainly help compensate. If getting Brown and Godwin compensates for Diggs and Fournette, I'm not loving Fournette. So Nick, if you have good running back depth, I would do that trade. Should I be trading Fournette? Yeah, that's the $1 million question. Ethan John, I almost called you Elton John. You know what? I'm a double Fournette owner. I'm frustrated, but generally the points have been there. He put up 14 points yesterday. He's had some big games this season for sure. He's a big time receiver out of the backfield. Rashad White didn't really make any inroads yesterday on the snap percentage. This is what I was worried about. I'm thinking about doing a trade for Kenneth Walker by getting rid of Lenny. Hey, listen, I do like rest of season. I like Kenneth Walker more than Lenny. So based on that premise, then I would try to trade Leonard Fournette for sure. Volume is decreasing like crazy. Yeah, it is decreasing, but a lot of that has to do. I almost dropped my phone. A lot of that has to do with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers offense in general. Brady looks awful. The offensive line is in shambles. Just like Matt Ryan with the Indianapolis Colts before he got benched, the rush is getting to Brady. He's looking at the rush. Doesn't have the time to throw the ball down the field. They're underutilizing Chris Godwin, just using underneath throws. And Leonard Fournette, I think, is still has it. I don't think he's lost a step. I just think the blocking hasn't been there. It takes Leonard Fournette a couple of steps to get up to full speed. So that's been the problem for me. One more question. Would I be crazy to start Khalil Herbert instead of David Montgomery? No, I would start Herbert over Montgomery. Khalil Herbert is the big play back in that offense for sure. All right, guys, I'm going to cut it short. I got some stuff going on tonight, so I appreciate your support. Good stream today. Make sure you hit the subscribe and notification buttons, and we will chat sometime tomorrow. More videos coming out tomorrow, and then the live stream on Sunday, guys. So have a good night and take care.